Afternoon, everybody. How we doing? All good? I was just eagle-eyeing this Euro Swiss trade they got into today. It's just pushing back up to break even at the moment. Got a nice rejection up at the highs, scaled into a few positions short, which was looking like it was going nicely into profit, and it's just pulled back 50%. So just keeping an eye on it. The ECB's just announced they're probably going to stop asset purchases at the end of the second quarter. So we're just quickly seeing what reaction the market's having to that. Doesn't seem like a lot, but a little bit of movement there. ECB, we've got Nagel, however you pronounce it, talking at the moment. So just seeing what impact that's having on that at the minute. Where are we? So news-wise, this afternoon we had Canadian. Let me just refresh that. Canadian CPI, all positive for the CAD across the board. So all good. We've got home sales for the US dollar this afternoon. We've got G20, and then we've got CPI this evening, which is kind of into tomorrow's session, really, for the New Zealand dollar. So there's no real news to look for this afternoon apart from existing home sales. So the main news we've had is the CAD. CAD has been very busy this morning off the back of the news. So we had a nice big push down. Strong moves on all Canadian pairs. So we've got some big moves, not against the yen, interestingly. We've had a fairly good yen today. Not massively amazing, some of them, some decent moves, but little bit of strength, which is good. So, but for the Canadian dollar, obviously, strong Canadian dollar off the back of that news. US dollar CAD is just coming down into a potential double bottom. No, not US dollar CAD. There was another CAD I was just looking at. Which one was it? Euro. So Euro CAD's just hit ADR. It's just approaching yesterday's low for a potential double bottom, but I'm really short Euro. So nice little pullback on that today for a nice little short, but that's pulling back off of there now. That's good. Starting to. So pretty quite a few ADRs hit today. Aussie dollar, US dollar hit. Came straight off of ADR very nicely. M5 just above ADR, and we've pulled back down. We're pushing back up now into the midline. US dollar's been pretty weak today. We had big moves down on all the US dollar pairs during the London session. It's all kind of pulling back now, apart from the Canadian dollar. CAD yen, ADR hit to the low. We looked at these this morning. Swiss yen, Euro CAD. We've had the ADR hit down to the lows at the moment. We are just coming off of a tweeze of bottoms there, but strong news on the CADs and obviously short on the Euro, so I wouldn't really want to take that one as a long. Euro pound came off of 125 ADR. That's coming down. We had a weak pound this morning. That's rallied a little bit. So there's quite a few hits. Pound odd and pound CAD both hit. So the pound odd hit the low, came back down, retested. Nice W there, pushed back up again. And the pound CAD, obviously that's hit off the back of the news. Pound yen had a very weak pound. That came off of 150 ADR. And obviously all the US dollars, very weak US dollar today, 150 and still going on US dollar CAD. US dollar Swiss came off 125 and US dollar yen off of 150. That's still coming down. US dollar Swiss tapped straight into that area of support resistance that I drew on and rejected at 125. Not sure that's far enough for a pullback on that US dollar Swiss. I think it needs to come back a little bit further, but that's the level I said, to watch out for, and that's where we have rejected. So we may well get the next leg up on US dollar. I would expect it to pull back a little bit more, US dollar, but doesn't seem to be wanting to at the moment. So we've had the moves down. US dollar CAD obviously is coming down because of the CAD. US dollar yen is coming down because of the yen. So Little bit of strength, not enough for me really on the yen. So that's this morning's movement. A lot of the RSIs have all flicked off. So we had lots of RSIs massively extended this morning. Obviously, US dollar yen being one of them. That's come down very, very hard. So if anybody took any of these 85s and 80s that we had this morning on the RSIs on the 4 hour, well done. You're still in them. And they're still dropping. So really good trades off of those. I wasn't brave enough to take the yens, unfortunately, this morning. So Aussie dollar Swiss still pushing up. We're still above RSI levels on that, nicely extended. Just coming into this nice retest of the reversal alert, where we had that reversal at the highs, made that nice propulsion gap, which we're retesting at the minute. So could still push up a little bit more on that one. Depends on what happens with the Swissy this afternoon. Obviously, the rest are all yens apart from the CAD Swiss, which is off to the moon because of the Canadian dollar. And obviously Euro Swiss, which I'm in at the minute already as a short. Didn't quite get up to the resistance levels that I was looking for on that one this morning. So we had that nice big spike up, but didn't quite get there. So I'm planning to add up there, looking for the short. If we break up much above 125 ADR, I'll be out on that. But it's going all right at the moment. They had a nice push down on, nice push down on that one. But obviously it's just pulling back a little bit. Pulled off the lows, off the Asian lows. So a few opportunities on the RSIs, but most of them being yens and against the Swissy, because the Swissy is obviously not having a particularly amazing time at the minute. So I'm in the Euro Swiss short, and I'm ignoring all the all the yens. US dollar CAD is extended on the 1 hour, which you'd expect obviously off that Canadian dollar news. So big, strong Canadian dollar. Don't really want to stand in the way of fundamental news. It's good news for the CAD, so therefore it is coming down, and we've got a fairly weak US, so that's taking advantage at the minute. Obviously wouldn't have known that this morning. Good looking short opportunity there, but I think this has got further to come down before we get a pullback. We're looking to pull back somewhere up into that area there. So potentially you got a pullback long building there as well. So this afternoon I haven't really traded much this morning after yesterday's catastrophe. I'm basically taking a day off. I say I'm taking a day off. I'm not taking a day off completely. I'm just obviously not doing an awful lot of trading today. Just sort of recouping at the minute. Big loss yesterday, 2.5k on the funded account. So I'm just sort of taking a step back and reevaluating what the market is doing at the moment. Just open now. So this morning, DAX, we had a big move up. And then we went into a big, horrible accumulation up here. So we went absolutely nowhere after the initial push and rally. This morning we broke out yesterday's high up into the highs up there. Wasn't expecting that today. We had a big up day yesterday, and at the moment we have pushed up again. So we're pushing up into all of these highs at the minute. We haven't rejected any of them. We had the highs there, there and there. We've pushed up, made a new high. We've even broken out of these highs there. So it looks like we're tapping into this level here at the minute, which is what has been initially rejected on that. Not quite. Didn't quite get there. Excuse me. So yeah, big push up. So watching to see what happens with the DAX this afternoon. The US indices, again, big pushes. So all big, strong moves to the upside. So what's going on with this bear market that we're meant to be in at the moment, eh? Not looking particularly bearish where we are at the minute. It looks like a lovely reversal alert and retest for longs. So really what we're in at the moment is just a whacking great accumulation. Market's really got no directional bias whatsoever. So VIX buys, where can I find the propulsion gap indicator? Have a look in the Telegram group. It's in the files section. It's called WRB hidden gap. Or Google that. WRB hidden gap. You'll find it. It's in the files section in the Telegram group though. So open on the US on the Nasdaq, fairly wide open at the minute. Pulled back into the 50. So we're long obviously at the moment today. We've put in a hell of a lot of movement today obviously already. Not done an ADR, but you know we're 100 points away from an ADR today. So not quite sure. I would suggest we'll probably find some resistance up here. So probably looking for short entries. But we'll see what happens at the open. At the moment, obviously, we've got no idea. So we'll just wait for that opening candle to be painted, and then we'll see where we go from the open. I've got tick strike open, have I? Yeah, open tick strike, so I can hear what's going on. Fairly heavily sell biased at the moment, as you can hear. Let me just turn that down a little bit. Okay, going with the sell stop under the lows. We've got a lot of selling coming in at the open, so need to watch this level. If we break to the downside, this propulsion gap here could well act as support for a move to the upside. Afternoon, David. A lot of selling coming in there, so short one. I'm going to take 1% risk this afternoon, that's it. Keeping my powder as dry as I can at the minute. So buying coming in on the Dow. S&P's just putting a big rejection candle to the upside. So we just retested the highs on the S&P, failed. Obviously this candle's not finished yet, but wow. Hell of a lot of divergence coming in. Look at the Dow compared to the S&P and the Nasdaq. Big divergence. Afternoon, Diamond. Have another trading software that I use with all your indicators and EA. I feel much more comfortable trading. Awesome. Buyers coming in. Real mixed bag today at the moment. Speaking of other trading softwares, I've got something to show you in a minute. Just waiting to see what happens with the open. See if we're going to get a runaway short. I'm looking ideally for a runaway short on the NAS today, based on this morning's price action and the day that we had yesterday. We've had really big couple of run-up days. We've tapped straight into those highs. So I'm looking for a rejection up at these highs, basically. And a decent move down today, somewhere into mid-range, which is why I'm short at the open. I'm not going to add to it, but lovely 3-bar reversal going in at the moment. Whoops. Just keep an eye on the S&P. GU hedging has been doing really well. Have a 100k account, risking 0.5% per trade and aiming for $50, always in and out. Cool. Yeah, pound US dollars. I don't know. At the moment, I can't really find anything that is working particularly well from a pairs perspective in FX, because we've got a lot of weak currencies out there at the moment. Pound, euro, yen, obviously all very, very weak. The US dollar seems very temperamental at the moment. The Aussie and the New Zealand, there's tons of money piling into it, which is uncharacteristic, which makes it very hard to go long on them because you're not expecting money to pile into those as safe havens, which is what seems to have happened with the Ukraine situation. So everything's a little bit skewed, which is why I haven't been doing any position trading, because I can't really work out what is best to trade at the moment. But if you're doing well out of the pound US dollar from a hedging perspective, that's awesome. I'm assuming M5. It's a real mixed bag of buying and selling across the board at the minute. Naz is potentially rejecting. Have a look at that in a sec. But yeah, this is the problem at the minute. These sorts of moves, where if you were hedging long, you're not going to get exits on these things for days on end on M5. Makes it very dangerous. We're getting a lot of these moves where we're just suddenly moving 100, 200, 150 ADR at the drop of a hat. So, you know, this, if you're shorting that, no problem. If you're longing that, issue. So it's, I don't know, it seems a little bit risky. Anything in FX at the moment, from position perspective, just seems a little risky, which is why I'm sitting on the sidelines a little bit with it at the moment. Okay, we've got a lot of buying coming in at the moment, all being absorbed on the NAS. Well, a lot of it being absorbed on the NAS. Buyers are really trying hard to reject this accumulation, this balance area here, but the sellers are having none of it. So it seems to be a lot of selling pressure coming through. A lot of big sellers out there. DAX is just making new highs. Dow's just to the moon, along with the DAX, but Nasdaq and the S&P are struggling. What about Euro Swiss? Looks good on H1. Yeah, I'm in Euro Swiss short already. I built a position up in that this afternoon, this morning rather. Got 3 shorts on that at the minute. Hourly, yeah, it looks good on the hourly. So, watching these highs. Basically, this could be a trap. Okay, 2 dojis on the trot on the Dow and the S&P. Short one more on the NAS. Whoa, oh God. That was a silly mistake. So I'm just, okay. Going a bit hard on that one there. Good job, there's a load of selling. All this selling's getting absorbed now as well. Just get ready to close this position out. I got in too tight on it. Yeah, it's a lot of absorption down there. I'm just getting out of that position. Got in too tight. I had the stop loss mode wrong. I had it set on this candle rather than the previous candle, which is what I wanted. Just going to add that back in and obviously stop up there, not there. We got a lot of absorption going on here. A lot of selling pressure coming through. But we don't seem to be making a lot of headway. S&P is not making a lot of headway either. So there's, there we go. We've cracked it now. So we're just trying to get through this zone here at the minute. A lot of buyers stepping in off of there. And obviously here as well, we're going to find some as well. Got a lot of work to do this afternoon to battle through this lot. Afternoon, Fanor. Yeah, so M5, I meant to ask, the default settings for the GU hedging has the RSI length at 14. Change it to 21. Yeah, ideally you want to be using a 21. For M5 and anything H4, 14. There's a lot of absorption going on here. I'm just going to show you another bit of software in a minute. I'm just waiting for this. Just see what happens on this trade. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it. It's called Boocamp. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. But while I've been trying to find something to occupy myself this morning, I've been researching it. Just pushing my TPs down at the moment. So running into potential support, resistance, support here. Nice amount of selling coming in at the minute. Okay, S&P is just also running into support. Okay, closing it at 1.5%. May well regret that, but we're likely to find a little bit of buying down here after that initial opening flurry. So if we get a decent pullback, potentially looking for another short entry. But it may well just carry on. Big sell-off. Euro Swiss just turned as well. I've got another sell stop underneath these lows. So looking to add another position for a move down on that. So this software I was looking at this morning, it basically feeds off the futures market called Boocamp. Don't know if anybody's seen it before. Looks a little bit different to your normal charting platform. This is just a demo of it, which I'm kind of playing around with at the moment. But basically, it's a heat map software for volume profile. So this is Bitcoin. And basically, it just shows you where the limit orders are in the market. And you can go down to like super detail and see every order being entered into the market, basically. But that's a little bit too detailed. Now I can't zoom out for some reason. Whoa, why can't I zoom out? There we go. So yeah, I mean, it's basically it's showing you basically where all the limit orders are. So batches of orders basically in the market, which show you where the buyers and sellers are sitting. As you can see, there's lots of orders sitting up there at that high. These dots basically are large sell orders and buy orders. So when you see a breakout happening with lots of buy orders, typically you get that move up, and that's kind of what we're listening to as well. Here, listening to a load of sell orders coming in. What you'll see is these painted as we get lots of selling volume coming into the market. And what you're kind of looking for with this, there's lots of things, but it will show you absorption, it will show you all the main market conditions that we look for. But levels, so levels where there have been lots of limit orders and placed in the market, where buyers are basically sitting and sellers are sitting. So when we hit a level of potential support on the S&P, for example, as we are at the moment, and we see a load of limit orders sitting down there, and we see a load of buyers coming into the market, it gives you confidence that you're stepping in with the big boys. You can see all the contracts basically entered into the market. So interesting bit of kit. There's a lot of things you can turn on and off. You can turn off the volume dots. You can put candlestick overlays on top. And obviously you can scroll out to different time frames. Hourly basically is really all it goes out to, because it's an intraday tool really. But you can go down granular. You can see all the orders in the market and filter it out. All sorts of stuff you can do with it. Been playing around with it this morning though on Bitcoin and taking a few trades. Literally just been taking trades at support resistance, and it seems pretty damn good with these limit orders. So if you're looking to place a limit order down here, you basically buy. It integrates with your broker as well, so it goes straight into your broker account, and then you can show your P&L and your open positions as well. So it's showing that I've got a 0.2 long. The blue line is my P&L. So you can obviously see that plot as trades play out. But yeah, interesting. So go and have a look at it if you want to. Called Boocamp. It's not cheap. It's $100 a month for the software, and then you need a data feed as well. But you could use Rhythmic. If you sign up with Apex, for example, you get a live data feed through Rhythmic. You can use Rhythmic to integrate with this. So you actually get free data if you do it that way. But yeah. Interesting piece of software, so worth a look if you're interested in volume profile and basically how the market works. Yeah, you see there's a load of orders sitting there, there's a load of orders sitting there, there's a load of orders sitting there. If we trade up into there and we start to get rejection, likelihood is we're going to come down and test this area where the limit orders for the big boys are sitting. And it shows you obviously volume profile for the session as well and the day. It shows you areas you should be looking at where orders are likely to be sitting. So there's lots of videos on it as well. But I'm going to keep playing around with this. Unfortunately, I've only got the demo, so I haven't got proper data. You need to actually buy it to get futures data in it. But yeah, something else to have a look at if you're bored, like me. Not so much bored, but just looking for things to occupy my time so I don't overtrade. Buyers starting to step in. Whoa, someone just sold the hell out of Netflix. Euro Swiss coming down nicely. So I'm looking for pullback basically on this move, and this is where Boocamp would be absolutely priceless, showing us where the market participants are sitting, where these limit orders are sitting. Because if you know where the limit orders are sitting when you're waiting for a pullback, I suggest the limit orders are probably there. Somewhere in there, the limit orders. You'll see a big bar somewhere around there. That's where we want to be using price action coming out of that limit order, using things like that. Obviously, this is Bitcoin. I'm just watching Bitcoin coming down at the moment. So Bitcoin, if you're trading Bitcoin at the moment, look around the 41,550 level. Let's mark it on the chart. Somewhere around there. Basically bang in the middle of that propulsion gap. So let's see what happens when we get there. Okay, so we're running down into support. Nasdaq still pushing down. Whoa, look at that hourly candle. Hopefully we're not going to get one of those "you are not coming on board" jobs today, but I would not put it past it. Okay, so this is the 14,100 round number, and then we've got the 14,000 round number as well. So let's see what sort of price action we get down here. Key level. Looks like we're selling through it. Okay, that's interesting. So we just traded straight down into that. Yeah, see that bounce rejection there? So that's a load of limit orders just been triggered, which we just saw sitting right there. Interesting, isn't it? Actually seeing these guys sitting there. These are the big boys. See what happens at that level. Struggling around 14,100. Just looking for an opportunity to potentially take a quick short, quick long, somewhere down here. They are selling the hell out of this today, look. Look out below. Okay, we've rejected off of the off of that low. Tempted to take a little counter trend along here. A little bit too early to get in though. I just want to see what's going to happen with this candlestick. Whoa. Second attempt to get through there. Okay, sold straight through that level. So I would suggest we're heading down to 14,000 from here. We are still down at these lows though. Getting a little bit of rejection down there. That is the mother of all reversal alerts about to trigger. Okay, 10 seconds left on this candle. We're just tapping into these lows and we've just rejected, pushed down to reject at these lows. So I'm going to try a quick... Whoa, cancel. Going to try a quick buy stop above that high. And just see if we can get a little pullback. Okay, long one. That for a bounce, eh? So heading up to 41,850 potentially. Okay, S&P's rejected at these lows as well. We still look like we're pushing down again though. More sellers coming through. Look, not going to get in the way of this today. Lesson learned yesterday. Don't get in the way of a freight train. We seem to have another freight train on our hands again. So, going to wait for Aussie dollar yens to hit ADR. Again, more yen strength coming through by the looks of things in the New York session. Not too much, but wow. Somebody certainly doesn't like Netflix today, do they? So we are getting some rejection down there, but I'm waiting for it to pull back. I'm not going to try and counter trend it. Yen powering up fairly nicely. Anybody get short on any yens today? I didn't have the guts to take them this morning, but if you did, you've done pretty well out of them today, I think, by the looks of things. What's that other screen with grade charts? This one. This is Boocamp. I just explained this. Have you just come in? This is a new piece of software I've been looking at this morning, just to help with market profiling for the indices, for futures mainly. I'm just looking for something to trade my Apex account with on futures. Combined with tick strike, I think would be fairly useful. So this just basically shows you the market profile, and basically where the limit orders are for the market. So where the market participants are sitting. Okay, we're struggling down. We are making new lows, but it's a bit of a struggle. Getting a little bit wicky down the bottom here. So we are running out of steam. S&P struggling too. This was in Financial Juice earlier. Netflix loses subscribers for the first time in 10 years. Shares plunge over 30%. Ah, right, okay. I didn't see that. I don't think I've got mine set up for stock news. Should do really, shouldn't I? I have to play with the settings on that. Equities, Forex, indices. Very decent selling coming through again. This is definitely Netflix being hammered. Look. God, there's so much news you can put into that. Forex, stocks, futures. So I'm just playing with my Financial Juice settings to see what difference it makes to the feed. Yeah, there we go. A lot more news coming in now. Interesting. So S&P struggling, getting rejected down here. Sellers are running out of steam. Nasdaq still pushing down. Obviously, that would be off the back of Netflix. Dow complete A-shaped recovery off of that resistance. So that was these highs up here, just rejected. Markets look heavy. Can't really get into Netflix. Pretty much is Netflix, isn't it? Can't actually get into the Nasdaq now. Got out a bit early, as usual. DAX is stuck completely sideways at the moment. Lots of decent wicks to the downside on the DAX, so showing over the last 25 minutes. And just made a new high at the open there. That's worth a long order up there. But the way this is going at the moment, this is probably going to drag the entire market down with it. Down might be worth shorting, but it's difficult to chase it this far down, isn't it? Existing home sales figures have just come out. Uh, 5.77 million on a forecast, 5.78, so it's basically as expected for the US dollar. No movement. Euro Swiss has gone into a holding pattern. We've got some Euro strength starting to show. Euro Swiss though not. Blimey, listen to that thing go. S&P still holding up. Really, really, really want to long this. Play this pullback, but learned the lesson yesterday. Trying to mean revert this thing. Was not interested, was it? Let's have a quick flick through the FX pairs. Whoops. Okay, got buyers starting to step in now. Nah. I was toying with the idea of longing that. I'm not going to do it. Stop watching it. Right, let's have a quick whiz through the FX pairs. To see if we've got anything approaching any decent levels that may be of interest. Aussie dollar CAD straight off of ADR. Nice level there. So obviously with this Canadian dollar news, probably look for these lows to get broken this week. Aussie dollar Swiss approaching these highs, waiting for this to try and get up there. Don't think it's going to make it. We've got a bit of a strong Swiss franc at the moment, which is obviously holding all these Swiss pairs down. If we do get up to ADR, or there or thereabouts, 125 ADR, nice looking short opportunity. Bear in mind we're getting a lot of stuff. Obviously, you know, we are very range bound on a lot of these pairs, very wide, big ranges, which are taking weeks to play out. So approaching highs up there. There is a lot of selling going on in Netflix. All the other markets trying very hard to push up, but the Nasdaq's holding everything back at the minute. Nobody's interested in anything apart from Netflix at the moment. Poor old Netflix. Need them to keep the money going because they make good programs. Anyway, Aussie dollar happy lost without Netflix. Aussie dollar yen, we know about all the yens, all broken out to new highs. So until the Bank of Japan steps in, be looking for continuation longs. So looking for support areas to potentially long it from. Aussie New Zealand missed this one, came off the highs this morning. Very nice. M5 reversal alert. Bit of a wide one. M15 would probably be a cleaner one. Yeah. So nice new high made, reversal and retest. Just made a new low. So nice market structure starting to form on that one. Difficult to tell with the Aussie US. CAD's nowhere near anything. Lovely 3-bar reversal coming off of the ADR high there. We are starting to get that pullback now on Nasdaq. What do we think? Is this going to continue to go at that rate? Be lucky to make that. Okay, go with the sell stop under the lows. Decent stop. So CAD Swiss, nice rejection. Not really a potentially a good level, obviously, that one, because we are just flying out to all-time highs. CAD Yen, same thing as all the other yens, long until further notice. Swiss Yen, so the Swissy obviously has had a bit of strength, which has held this one down a little bit. We did make new highs, put in a lovely reversal, but we are, again, with all these yens, every time we get any kind of movement back down, we are running straight into an area of balance and we're getting stuck and bouncing back off. So wicks to the downside showing at ADR at the minute. Like I said, on these, I really want to see some decent movement down, push up and get a new low in to show some kind of continuation strength on these yens before interested in doing anything like a short on those. Euro odd sideways mess. Euro CAD very slightly downtrending. Come off of ADR low very nicely today. So we've got kind of a triple bottom. Nice little liquidity run going on down there. I don't really want to be longing it though. Euro Swiss, as you know, I'm in short. We've just tapped into resistance. Pound's kind of a mess. We've been stuck sideways for days on that. Euro yen, same thing as all the other yens. Euro New Zealand. So we're holding the highs here at the moment. We haven't managed to get through there. We've just broken down into new lows. So that looks nice from a market structure perspective. Good short opportunities on the Euro New Zealand. Obviously Euro's just shorting everything Euro anyway. Euro US dollar. Again, 4 days sideways. We've just broken out into new highs, but we are obviously in a downtrend on that. Wouldn't want to be looking for long opportunities on it. If we can get up into this area of support resistance above the 24 in the 24.72 zone, that's where I'd be interested in taking shorts out of that. At the moment, we've got a bit of a US dollar weakness going on, so it's got every opportunity to make it up there, but obviously it's going to be a hell of an ADR push. Pound odd. Need to make it up to there before I'm interested really in shorting. One reason to get short. We have come off the 24 and we have broken back down below this support area here. So we smashed through support and we're just retesting it again. So it's a bit of an odd one. Normally when you've got a decent support area that gets broken and acts as resistance multiple times like this one has, when it breaks through it's usually gone. This hasn't. And it's broken back down and we're just kind of chopping around. So it's very difficult to read whether or not this is going to hold this level here. Be much more interested in shorts obviously than longs. We've just had a reversal alert on the 4 hour as well. So potentially that's a nice looking little short opportunity there. Hourly we've had the reversal alert and the retest. But you know, we are sitting in an area of chop at the minute. Lots of buyers coming in on the NAS. We're getting a good pullback on that at the moment. Might be ready for some short opportunities on that one. Just draw your attention to Bitcoin. See, works like a dream, doesn't it? That's the area we were looking at of that liquidity. It was not allowed through. Bouncing off back up to, where did I say we were going to bounce back up to? It's like magic, isn't it? Actually, I said we're going to bounce up to 41,850. We haven't got there yet. That's the level. But there's a load of sellers come in. So this is an interesting thing about this this bit of software. This is showing that the market participants were sitting there waiting to trigger long orders. As soon as those longs were triggered, they flipped their limit orders up to here. These didn't exist. When we got down to here, that was what we were looking at. Now, as we've been going sideways, the load of limit orders have been entered back up at these highs, which is what we're tapping into at the moment. We're not allowed through this level. So it's a little bit like the propulsion gaps that we use to show breakout momentum. This is showing kind of where we're likely to put the brakes on after we've broken out that momentum. So somewhere up here, you could always get in there as a short. If that doesn't hold, get in there as a short, average into the position and take it off. So lots of potential I can see for this, especially for absorption areas as well. But as I say, I'm just playing around with it at the minute. US dollar yen 175 ADR. That thing's just come down. It's just taken out the lows. Where are we? Pound odd. So we've just taken out the lows on the 5 minute. So potentially that could be a liquidity run. They've enticed a load of longs. Might have just taken out the stops. Just putting a sell stop underneath that low. I'm just kind of anticipating next tranche of orders to come in and tank this. So I'm just trailing up as we're pushing. Pound odd. Let's look at that one, haven't we? So yeah, potentially a good short on that one as well. Pound CAD, completely sideways. Obviously, we've been driven down at the moment by that Canadian dollar news. Coming back down into potential support down here. We're at 125 ADR. We'd like to see it get down to 150. If we can get down to 150 ADR today, that's a lovely little long opportunity. We're massively range bound on this thing. We have been range bound for a good couple of weeks. So we pushed down, came back up into that resistance. We've put a wick off spring in there. And we did push up to the highs and accumulate, but we didn't get the break. We got a range. So range bound until something happens. So this is potential good looking long. Pound Swiss just running to resistance up at the highs. This propulsion gap after we put in the double top. Come off very, very nicely. You would have had to taken this one this morning on M5. Would have been up there, but M15 reversal alert this morning was the trade on that one, up at those highs, but nice looking level that. And obviously at the moment we are just pushing back above the moving averages, but as you can see, again, it's just another one of these. We're in a massive, massive, long, protracted range. Where we are now is either going to do that or that. So you need to be watching this level over the next sort of day or so and see if we are looking for a break to the high or if we're going to come range bound to the lows. Just got to make a decision on these. Pound CAD 125 ADR as well. Pound yen, same as all the others. So I was just watching what was going on with the Nasdaq. Still trying to push up. Pound yen, yeah, same as all the others. On the ends, want to see some more movement on that. That's coming down a little bit nicer than all the others at the minute. We've got obviously a very weak pound at the present. So good move down. Looking for potential support down here somewhere. We've got a lovely area of balance and accumulation down there that we are heading back for. So potential bounce point down there. But obviously that would mean some strength in the pound, which we haven't got at the moment. So it's obviously going to be able to beat the yen at present until obviously the yen Bank of Japan decides to do something about it. Pound New Zealand has come off the highs. Missed that one. Pretty much the same as the pound odd. Actually, the pound odd didn't quite get there. So pound New Zealand, nice bounce. Off at the highs there. Pound US dollar, again, US dollar, big, wide, horrible range thing at the minute. We're down at the lows. Difficult to tell what's going to happen with this one. Obviously, you can see we've been in a holding pattern now for a good month and a half. We are at the lows. Obviously, we've had the US dollar being fairly strong at the moment. We've got a weak US dollar. So right here is kind of where I would expect a bit of a push, but overall a continuation to the downside on this one when the US dollar starts to power up. So we are obviously in a downtrend at the moment. Wouldn't want to see it getting above those highs, but any movement we can get up there, be looking for shorts, looking for these lows to get broken at some point, but they're holding up pretty well at the moment. It's 1.3. We're not interested in going lower than that level. So it's the third time we've rejected it. If we tap that door again, I think we're probably going to break it. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. We just started short on the NAS. So I'm short one. About to get in short second. New Zealand dollar. We had that breakout of the symmetrical triangle on the 4 hour. That's come down very nicely into this support area. We've had a little bit of a bounce. We've had the reversal alert, but it's not looking very convincing at the moment. Obviously, Canadian dollar has just strengthened up, which isn't going to help this one. So this is the area we're looking for support, somewhere around here or anywhere in this zone, basically. We found the support. We've had the bounce, but obviously with the Canadian dollar news, that's starting to power up. Which is obviously driving the New Zealand dollar down again. So we'll see what happens with this one in the Asian session. Overnight tonight, we've got the CPI for New Zealand dollar at 11:45 this evening. Forecast to be 2%. If that comes out way bigger than 2%, then obviously we could well have a drop on the New Zealand dollar. So we could see another collapse on this one, on that news later on. So be interesting to see what happens in Asia. But at the moment, it's not looking particularly good. So another leg down. If we get that leg down, no reason why eventually we're not going to just grind all the way back down to there over the next week or so. New Zealand dollar Swiss. Difficult to read. It's kind of sideways at the minute. Who knows with that one. We are just up at potential resistance, but we're straight into that accumulation. We're just going into another accumulation, so this could either go either way. It's either going to reject this accumulation as it did before, or we are just pushing up into another leg up to these highs. Take your pick, flip a coin. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing as all the other yens. New Zealand dollar US dollar, that's just come off of these lows, but again, we're in a downtrend at the moment on this one. We are down at lows at pretty good levels, and we've had a lovely bounce there. So nice push up, but equally be looking for a drop on that one. Just getting loads of buying coming through on the NAS. Okay. So if we break those highs, potentially we are putting in a reversal down here. This is kind of why I want to try this software out. I want to see what this heat map says at the moment about NASDAQ. It's kind of like X-ray vision, isn't it? Seems a bit too cheaty to me, but we'll see. Getting a bit of rejection coming in there. Looking for a big dump. US dollar CAD, obviously Canadian dollar strength. Looking for it to come down to these lows, previous lows there, which got rejected. So we're almost back down to this level again. Really going to rely on when the US dollar powers up. We've got no US dollar news this week. We've got Powell speaking tomorrow, along with Bailey. But apart from that, we've got PMIs on Friday, but apart from that, there's nothing for the US dollar. So there's no catalysts really to move the market this week for the US dollar. So this could well just continue to push down on the Canadian dollar strength. US dollar Swiss looking for more of a pullback. By the end of the year, Germany will end oil imports from Russia. They've just said. US dollar Swiss, we've just pulled back into there. I was looking for a little bit more of a deep pullback, as I said, but potentially that one could go from there. So we have just had a nice bounce and we're just rejecting again. So reversal alert has just gone in and we did retest it, but that was a bit quick. So that's a lovely looking retest we've got going on there at the moment. Lovely bullish divergence as well. So nice little buy opportunity on US dollar Swiss. Assuming the Swiss franc is going to weaken, obviously, and US dollar yen we know about. Utter mess. Not really interested in the yens. Gold. We looked at gold this morning, Proster. I tried to long it yesterday and got burnt here. We just completely collapsed down through that level. We've also collapsed back down through this support as well. So we did tap into it and then we've rejected it. We've come up, rejected, and we're kind of hovering. So at the moment, it's at a real crux point. If we break back down below these lows and invalidate that reversal alert, I suspect we're coming down either to these lows or down to the bottom of this weekly range here. If we break and close back above that high, I suspect we're going to come back up and retest that high there. So this is a really important level we're at the moment, the 1950. Difficult to tell. You could straddle trade this quite safely if you had a buy above there, sell below there. So that buy order, put a stop there. That sell order, put a stop there. One of them is going to get you a good 3-4 to 1 risk reward, isn't it? Highly likely we're going to come and challenge one of those levels from where we are, but don't know which. And I'm not trading it because every time I do, it kicks me in the butt. And what it will probably do is take that, take that, take that, and then do that. Now this is just rejecting these highs at the minute. Doesn't seem deep enough for a pullback, but so every selling flurry we're getting is being met with very little downward movement. So we've got, if you could see cumulative delta, you'd have delta divergence showing at the moment. So we're basically we're not pushing down with price, but it's kind of ready to pop to the upside, I think, potentially. But we'll see. We need a flurry of orders to come through and start a next leg down. But I think we've got a little bit further to go back up to here, really. Which is why I was trailing these stops. I wasn't expecting to get that movement quite so quick, but here comes the buyers. So stop on that order is up here. So yeah, gold, difficult. Today we've not gone anywhere. We're stuck today. We dipped our toe out the highs of Asia, came back in, and we're dipping our toe out the high of Asia again. So there's no directional movement today on gold. We had a flat day followed by a down day. So your guess is as good as mine on that one. But I have to be long bias on gold, really do, just based on this price action. So before the war, we were gradually grinding up. Then we had the rumour of war, and then the correction. And then we started to move up again, came down, did a liquidity run, gone sideways. We've made new highs. So to me, that is what I would expect to happen. Bounce off the 24, exactly where we are. This is absolutely spot on for a long. In normal times, I would be fairly confident about that. But in times of war, who knows? We've got some more ADRs being hit across the board as well, so decent movement going on across the board. 175 on the US dollar CAD, that was, we just got. Canadian dollar news, obviously good fundamental news for the CAD. S&P is pushing up. So we've got some decent buying coming in. Again, we're not making a lot of positive movement either. So we're getting a bit stuck down here. Market not really sure which way it wants to go. So we're just coming up to retest the reversal alert. We're sitting in this nice propulsion gap on the S&P. So this is potentially where we should see those sellers start to come in. So if you're looking at a heat map, you'd be looking at a load of limit orders ready to trigger. So when the market, obviously the way I explain how the market works, with institutions splitting their orders up into multiple parts. Yeah, when price gets pushed down, they wait for price to pull back to a level where they can get a better price to execute the next batch of orders, which keeps pushing price down. What you're seeing here is limit orders placed into the market where they're waiting for price to get there, and it would just automatically trigger the next batch of orders. You know, these are 28,000 compared to 1,000, 6,000. You know, these are 100,000 contracts. These are big boys. And what also you're looking for is when you're approaching these levels, if these vanish, they're what's called spoof orders. So they're sitting in the market, enticing the market up to those levels, and then they remove those orders before we get there. And what happens is the buying pressure whacks straight through them. So you need to be aware of these as well when you're approaching them. You see some spoof orders here, look. Yeah. So there's an order sitting up there, which then got removed, and that order then got moved up higher, and then it got moved down, and then it got moved down again, then it got taken away, moved down to there, they took it away, moved it down to there. Yeah, so this is basically the market participants waiting for price to get to where they want to sell it, and then you see these big moves coming in, which is like that one we just saw trigger. But what we see on the charts here is pretty much exactly the same thing happening with these propulsion gaps. So we have an accumulation of orders. Orders get executed to the downside. As price pulls back, the participants go, yeah, I'll have that. It's a better price than I would have got down there. And they add to their positions and push it back down further. So it's just another way of seeing the same thing, but this is the futures market. So this is obviously a centralized exchange, whereas what we're seeing here is just pure price action candlesticks guessing at this being liquidity, because we've got no centralized exchange obviously to work with. So pound US dollar's just about to get a reversal alert. Nice M pattern. So a little bit of US dollar strength starting to come in. US dollar CAD is just coming off 175 ADR with potentially tweezer bottoms, or a nice double bottom anyway. Just be a bit careful obviously with that. This Canadian dollar strength isn't waning at the moment. Some poor fool's buying Netflix. I think he may well just get stomped on the head in a minute. We just had crude come out as well. Positive for crude. Again, that will be positive for the Canadian dollar, potentially. So we might see some more movement down on the CAD, or movement up on the CAD rather, movement down on everything else. Positive crude. DAX just approaching double top. DAX has gone absolutely nowhere this session. Triple top rather. Dow is just approaching a double top, potentially as well. So if Dow gets up there, just keep your eyes peeled, because obviously we're still getting very, very difficult positive movement on the NASDAQ. Okay, a bit of indecision there. Bulls are starting to step in a little bit now across the board. Still getting lots of absorption there though, look. Every buyer that's coming in is getting trampled on at the minute. Eventually they're probably going to wear this out and we're just going to get a pop-up. But it depends whether or not there's enough buyers sitting there waiting to try and buy this back, or whether we're going to run out of buyers and sellers are just going to take over. Hopefully the latter. DAX right up at the highs. We just had some news coming on Bank of Canada rate hike. Russia test launches a new intercontinental ballistic missile. Ouch. flexing his muscles. Okay, new highs on the DAX. Dow just approaching new highs. Hopefully we've got a load of limit orders sitting up there, ready to trigger a selling frenzy. Pound CAD 175. Look at these ADRs today. There goes. Pound CAD's coming down again. Good news on the crude figures. And obviously the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce sees the Bank of Canada rate hikes by 50 basis points at the June meeting. So don't get in the way of the CAD today. Sellers starting to step in now. We've got 1 minute left on this candle. Just toying with the idea of adding another position under this low. We've got a nice long wick rejection, indecision candle there, and we've now got a long wick rejection at the 20 moving average. So MA's caught up with price. Everything else has pushed very hard on a pullback. Obviously NASDAQ hasn't managed to. It's just flagging at the minute. So I'm toying with the idea of just taking another short. Just waiting to see what happens with this candle. A little bit dodgy adding to a losing position, but we are getting quite a bit of selling pressure at the minute. So the Dow is also looking like it's starting to reject the highs. Got 10 seconds left on the candle, so going for one more under the lows. Looking basically for these sellers to continue the push down from there. Seems to have gone to sleep. So nothing happening over here, and nothing happening over here. Very quiet. And Bitcoin looks very, very sideways. See how they get on. If we get down to this area, I'm going to buy up. If we go up to there, I'm going to sell the highs and the lows of the ranges. Okay, long wick. Starting to get bearish engulfing forming in the second position, short. So we've got 2 shorts now with an average there. Obviously the danger here is that this is bullish market structure still. This is just pulling back for the next leg up from here. But we're getting some decent sells coming in now. Starting to reject. And the Dow has also rejected the highs. Or it's starting to reject the highs. Anyway. DAX has just come off the highs as well. Market's slowed down a lot though. Someone just bought a load of Tesla. What's happening with my Euro Swiss? A little bit rangy on the Euro Swiss at the minute. So we may well come up and challenge these highs. So this is initially where I was looking for this one to get up to. Into this zone here at ADR. Somewhere between 100 to 125 ADR is where I'm looking to add. And then I'll get out somewhere around 150 if we push up that high. But hopefully that's enough. We're nicely extended. We're up at the 72 pretty much. So good level to start entering shorts. Do you have teaching on spoof orders indicator? No. I don't have a spoof orders indicator. Oh, do you mean this thing? Just go and YouTube it. Bookmap, if you want to. I've been through the training on this, which is about 4 hours. And to be honest, it didn't really teach me anything I didn't know. But the main thing I was interested in with this was these bubbles and what if they could tell me anything, and they don't really tell you much. I know there's a load of selling coming in. You can kind of see it in the market profile. This is more what I'm interested in, correlation with existing levels. So go to Bitcoin chart, because I've only got Bitcoin. And look at levels on Bitcoin. Yeah. And identify potential levels of support resistance. So that one there, for example, 42,183. Yeah. So look at what we had there at the 4200 level. So all around, somewhere around here, we had a hell of a lot. If this morning you'd have known that that lot was sitting there at that level, do you think that would have made you more inclined to take that short or less inclined? That's kind of what I'm looking at this to help with on the futures market, is identification of where the big boys are sitting. And when they tapped into that area, it tanked. Have I got position on? No. We're just getting some buying coming through at the minute. Aussie US 125 ADR as well. Weak US dollar. Still got a weak US dollar. Yeah, Star. So if you're interested in correlation on indices with moving spoof orders, as you put it, yeah, that'll be a helpful charting platform for you. But you know, it can look like an absolute complicated mess if you go in too deep. Obviously, this is showing real time. Obviously, you can see this is like 30 seconds apart between each of these lines. But the real value is, for me, I think, is looking at these levels, because this is where you're going to find, if you look at a market profile, say like a P-shaped market profile like that, you've got levels, you've got a point of control, and you've got an upper and a lower level, which is basically where you tend to, a lot of the time, to find support and resistance. So if you find a P-shaped profile like that, for example, which is obviously a bullish day, and you find a whacking great pile of limit orders sitting there up at this level, if those limit orders do not disappear when you get close to that level, there's a very high probability you are going to get a dump off of that. Whether or not that dump is a reversal or a pullback doesn't matter. What we're interested in is getting short and getting out with a profit. Scalping it, basically. Whether or not those are successful shorts, those limit orders, or not, is irrelevant, isn't it? If when you get to that level, they suddenly vanish and shoot up, you know that's a spoof. In which case then you buy it up to that level. And that's what you'll see, is a big green ball appear, showing when we get to that level and the spoof limit orders get removed, a load of buying comes in, you just jump on the back of the buyers and trade it up to the next zone, which will typically be probably the low of a previous day's market profile, up there somewhere. But that's just basic stuff. The thing. Sorry, we are still hovering here. We haven't gone anywhere really. What was I just going to say? Yeah. The thing that's different, the thing that makes this thing very different to any other software on the market is we can see in the DOM, we can see where the orders are sitting. Yeah. When we get there to this level, we don't know whether those orders are being removed, whether they're being absorbed, or whether they're being filled, or what's going on. What this tells us is, going back in time, what happened to those orders? Where did they go? It's obvious where they went, down to here. When we got to here on the DOM, what happened to those orders? They went down to there. Yeah, we can see where the market participants are placing their spoofs. So that's telling us the market is going short. So that's what the advantage is, I think, with this software above all the others at the moment, is that, yeah, everything's got a DOM. The DOM is really good for seeing this, but is this real or not? We don't know until we get there. By the time we hit that level, we've no idea whether or not that was executed or whether it's moved. We can tell that with this because it's plotting the DOM through time. We're seeing what's actually happening, which helps you to forecast where we're potentially going to go. So it's a pretty good bit of kit, but I need to watch this specifically for trading with my futures account, obviously because it's the futures market. But I haven't got any I don't think I've got other data. No. Anyway. So follow the balls to the next bat. Yeah, basically. I wonder if it helps with the issue of order block being mitigated. Yeah, it helps with a lot of stuff. The real advantage is, I think, with this is absorption, identifying absorption. There are also studies in here for order book imbalances, large lots and large trade trackers as well, and there's imbalances as well. So it will help you identify all of those. There's other studies you can add to it as well for help with market profile. So there's lots of stuff it does. It's very, very, very good looking software. It was built by a load of quant analysts to help them with building quants so that they could identify spoof orders, because the trouble quant traders have, the banks have, is the banks are looking to play off of liquidity. Yeah, they're hunting liquidity so they can get their orders filled. The problem the banks have is when they get to a batch of orders and it vanishes, what do? If you're the wrong side of it, the bank's got to take a loss. So the quants basically are in and out and in and out, and you can see the quants trading. Look, if you go down to the micro level here, we can see these are quant orders. Yeah, all these are quant orders. Yeah, being filled. Shorts and longs hitting the bid. Yeah. That's basically what you're seeing. And you're seeing where the quants are placing their orders. Because what quants are doing is literally in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, until they take a loss. Then they reevaluate. They're just in and out like this. They're hitting the bid and the ask constantly. This is why we're seeing this flying around like that. Load of selling coming in at the moment. Jesus, look at Bitcoin. I've just seen this on the 1 minute chart. See? Big old orders. Removed. Yeah, there was a batch of limit orders sitting there. Yeah, they all got removed. That massive batch of limit orders, dumped, gone, vanished, didn't get filled, just the market's removed them. That's a spoof. Where's it gone? Down there. They're making room. It's very interesting. You get very, very sucked up into it. And this is the problem. You can't trade against quants. You cannot make trades. We are seeing trades happening in milliseconds here. Yeah, I mean this is you can't. It's going so fast. I can't even read the time intervals. This is 2 seconds between these lines, and we're seeing the quants in and out, in and out. You can't trade against these guys. There's no hope. You can't do it. Yeah. We know what they're doing at the moment. They're basically in an accumulation, hitting the bid and ask. They're accumulating. Yeah, in a minute, they'll break out of one of these accumulations, and then they will head to where the highest liquidity is, down there. But this is like, it's not worth trading this. You just, the risk reward is just not there. You need to be looking at, much bigger picture. But this is only 5-minute candles, look. Or 5-minute intervals. Yeah, look where we're heading. But it's vanished. It's all gone. Been moved. It's a spoof. But I think you need to spend a lot of time learning and watching that. Really, it's got uses, but I think you can get very, very engrossed and lost in it. What about using a higher time frame to enter in the lower time frame? There is no time frame. There is no time frame. This is the market. You're seeing the market. There's nothing. There's no candlesticks. There's no time frame. This is orders, order execution, order flow. There is no time frame here. This is me just scrunching up, looking at more order flow. This is me looking at less order flow. There's no time periods here. This updates at 40 frames per second. It's just plotting what the market is doing and where the market levels are. How long it takes to get there? 5 minutes, 1 minute, 4 hours? Doesn't matter, does it? We want to know where the market's going potentially, or where market is potentially going to bounce from. I couldn't give a monkey's how long it takes to get there. Doesn't matter, does it? We're looking at levels. So time doesn't factor in. These quants have got no idea about. They don't even know what time is. Their job is to get in and out of the market. They don't care what a candlestick is. They're not looking at anything. They're looking at price levels. Right. But using higher time frame support and resistance, that's what it's for. Yeah, that's the free version of. You can only look at Bitcoin or Apple. I think you can look at Apple. Oh God, I don't know what the ticker is for Apple. Yeah, don't know. You've got 2 feeds. You can only access, I think it's Apple and Bitcoin, just to have a look at it, really. Okay, so market structure at the moment, till we get sort of back down below these lows, we are still slightly bullish, but we seem to have gone into a very, very slow flag at the minute. S&P's come off the highs nicely. Dow straight off the highs. Nasdaq, DAX. Just got a reversal alert as well off of those highs. So the market is stalling. Whether or not we are pulling back for a new leg up or we are completing our pullback for the next leg down, we will find out in the next 10 minutes, hopefully. That way. Well, hopefully we'll find out in the next 10 minutes. The way some of these accumulations are going, could take hours. Okay, sellers are starting to step in now. Just broken those lows. So we are starting to find a little bit of support, a little bit of selling pressure rather. Not very convincing strength on the shorts at the minute. Still potential to break higher from here, but slowing down a lot. The rest of the markets have slowed down as well. US dollar is having a little bit of a push back up. Looks like a fairly strong Australian dollar. Euro Swiss is stuck completely sideways. Little bit of strength on the yen still, but not a lot. Starting to wane a little bit. Nothing much moving now. All gone a bit quiet. So hopefully we'll get a continuation grind to the downside on these indices. A little bit of selling coming in now. Next batch of orders being executed. So watching these lows, just to see if we get any kind of support down here, but entered third short. So back down to our favourite, 14,000. I seem to mention it every day, don't I? 14,000. For good reason. We keep getting back to 14,000 virtually every day. We are 14,000. Been stuck down here for a while. So that's the 14,000 level. So watching for price action there. Failing that, if 14,000 fails today, which is obviously these highs here, we're looking somewhere round about 138.5, which will be yesterday's low as the next stop. Which is pretty much 125 ADR, roundabout, so down to here. So either going to bounce or potentially head all the way down to there. Whether we'll make that today, don't know. It's a bit of a push, 125 ADR. You can see we're not really doing ADRs very easily on the indices at the minute, so. Running out of steam. We're range bound a lot of the time on these indices, so what's this? This is tick strike, yeah. Okay, so looking for a pop at the lows here. So looking just to get a big push down at the bottom. And again, looking at the Boocamp software, that is the equivalent of you hitting these limit orders, basically. And rather than bouncing off of them, the whole lot getting absorbed and buyers slamming through it. So what we're looking for is when you get to these levels, you tend to find you bounce, 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 and eventually all of these orders get eaten up and we pop. That's what we're looking for when we hit this low, because there's going to be a load of limit orders sitting there ready to buy this back up. We're looking for these sellers basically to just keep hammering and hammering and hammering and absorb the whole lot of those limit orders. Eventually when those limit orders are gone, we see that spike. That is then either a false breakout and the sellers have used up all their orders and literally can't push it any lower, and then the buyers come back in and push it back, or we fly through. Buyers and sellers. Load of blokes sitting here selling apples at one price. If they sell all their apples, we go down to the next bloke selling apples down here. And when he runs out of apples, we go and buy someone else's. Simple explanation of how the market works. How all markets work, whether they be apples, pears, bananas, iPhones, computers. Euro Swiss just gone back into profit. Don't think we're going anywhere on the euro today. What have we got coming up news-wise? We've got Lagarde speaking tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow evening, along with Powell. So let's watch this down here. So it's talking heads tomorrow afternoon. Powell's talking twice actually. No news tomorrow. There we go. So we've got that little pop out the bottom. So now we're sitting there, we're absorbing all those limit orders. Just bringing my TPs up to 14,000. I'm not sure we're actually going to get through this level. We've got 20 seconds left on this candle. I'd kind of want this to be a little bit more convincing as a breakout. Still got selling coming through. There we go. Bit of a push. Running out. Just getting ready to close this out. Buyers are starting to step in a little bit. Closing that out at 0.8. We ran out of steam down there. We've got some buying pressure starting to trickle in. It may well not hold and we'll fly down, but I'm not risking it for 0.8% profit. So a couple of good trades this afternoon, down to there, and then obviously that short as well. That'll do me for the afternoon on that. Question, is that an update on indicators you're using with the initials, Longwick, SC, etc. No, this is a completely different indicator I built called Price Action Toolkit. Well, it's not an indicator; it's an EA. Sorry, Price Action Toolkit. Basically, it does loads. I'll send you the link to it. Where are we? You could go and watch the video and have a read up. It's for MT4. There you go. Links in the live room. In the chat, rather. So basically, it just basically draws in price action and it gives you fast trade buttons so you can quickly execute orders, automatically put the correct risk in with the right TP and stop loss. You can adjust your stop loss mode, so using pips, obviously we'll use those. I can say I want my stop to be above the last candle. Or I can say I want my stop to be above this candle. You can get it to automatically add to positions as they become profitable for you. You can have trailing stops automatically triggered. There's exit strategies where it will automatically exit for you when you reach a certain percentage target. It will automatically trade candlestick patterns, breakouts. It does loads of stuff. It's just what I think was missing from MT4 from a trade execution perspective. You need to be able to quickly get in and out the market when you're scalping, and you can't do it with this button. You know, if you hit the sell button, I've now got to do that and then do that. I have no idea whether I've used the right lot size, so I have to hover over that, see what my loss is going to be, and then I go, oh, actually no, I should have got in with a 0.1 on that, or 0.1 on it, and then you place another order, and then that's on top of that one, so you have to open up your Explorer, and then you have to do other things in here, and it just doesn't work. So I made these buttons so I don't have to worry about doing any of that stuff. And obviously these are price action candlestick patterns. So SC is strong close, which is a candlestick which closes with the close of the candle very close to the end. And you can set the parameters for that. An IRB is an inventory retracement bar, which is a candlestick which pulls back a minimum of 45% of its length in a downtrend. You've got long wick candles, which are pretty self-explanatory. So these are big pushes up, which then fail. And it will auto trade all of these candlestick patterns for you as well. And then you've got the bog standard bullish and bearish engulfings, which I don't have turned on because I know what they are. But you've got bullish and bearish engulfings as well. And you've also got two inside bar patterns and equal highs and lows. I've got bullish and bearish engulfings turned on. That's interesting. We haven't had any bearish engulfings yet. Not one bearish engulfing all day. That technically was a bearish engulfing, but it actually opened below the close of the previous candle, so it didn't trigger the alert on it. Do I sell the buttons? Yeah, I've just put a link in the chat, just above you. There's a link to that product, basically. Price Action Toolkit. If you don't need to use everything. I mean, it automatically draws in opening range highs and everything. You can configure it to do what you want. If you want it literally just to be the buttons, which is the primary reason I built it, and then people asked about other stuff, which I added in. But that's what I built it for, because there's no fast action trading system for scalping in MT4, so I built it. There are some out there, but they don't work the way I want them to work. They don't work on percentages and stuff. They just don't do what I want. So I end up building what I want. Right, we're struggling down at these lows at the minute. So this is buyers are stepping in down here at the moment, and obviously we've seemed to have slowed right down. We've got inside bars on the S&P as well. We've not gone anywhere on the S&P. The Nasdaq's the only thing that we've actually made progress on this session. The S&P, although we have pushed down, pushed up, and pushed down again, we haven't really gone anywhere on that. The Dow, very, very similar. We had that big opening flurry at the cash open, dropped, we've pushed up, double tops, and pulled back again. And obviously the DAX, we are range bound. So nothing else is moving. Everything stocks wise is happening is on Nasdaq at the moment. So I'd continue probably to look for shorts on the Nasdaq, but we are starting to run out of steam down here. Pretty much the move of the day is done, I think. There is more room obviously down to yesterday's low, which is 125 ADR. There's a lot of room down there. But the fact that we pushed up so high into the highs today and rejected out, I'm not sure it's going to have the legs to get all the way down there, but you never know. Bad news for the Nasdaq, so it could do. Your EAs are the best. I wish I had a IT whiz to get me properly set up. You don't need an IT whiz. Just need to watch videos and read manuals. So we're just pulling off these lows a little bit, like down here, struggling. Although saying that, we are getting bullish. You know, the bears are definitely winning obviously today. When we get bullish price action, we're not really getting much bullish movement, as you can see. We just got that flag, so potentially we may get another flag drop here. May not go very high, so entry under that low, and this is what this is for. Yeah, sell stop under the low, stop above the high of this candle. No, don't want it, cancel it. Yeah, that's what it's designed to do. Just get you into the market. You see an opportunity like this, you don't want to be mucking about going, right, my stop needs to be 750, so if I get in with a 0.02 I should be this. You don't need to do that. How much do you want to risk? Where do you want to put your stop? Hit the button. Wait for the market to gather you up as it starts to push. That's what it's for. But there's others out there. There's other button systems out there for MT4 that are similar. But I like being able to move stuff very quickly at a touch of a button and get out of everything and move my stops to break even. Multiple positions, I need to be break even average. I want to be able to close top position. If I'm looking to keep a runner, I just want to close one of them out. It will close out the profitable one, then I can move it to break even and let a runner go. It does all of this. Allows you to do it all at the touch of a button, which is what I think is missing in MT4. This is in all other charting platforms. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, it's all there. We have this in all software. We have it in NinjaTrader. We have it in Sierra Chart. We have it in Boocamp. We have it in TradeStation. Everything's got it. MT4 and MT5. They give you this. It's useless. It just doesn't work. Doesn't do anything. So I'm pulling back off the lows. Right, I'm going to leave it there today, guys. That's not a bad afternoon session, considering this morning wasn't great either, and what happened yesterday with my loss. So a little bit of recuperation there on this account anyway. Euro Swiss I've got running still. We haven't gone anywhere, as you can see, by this whacking great daily candle. We're sitting basically as a spinning top at the moment, but that is a good sign. This is typically indecision candles are very often followed by reversals. So this is basically the market saying we want to continue higher, and the sellers going we want to continue lower, and the market going actually no one's got enough buying power at the moment or selling power to move us. Therefore, we tend to reverse what we did previous, which is what I call a 3-bar reversal. So if this candle stays painted like that, that's a good sign for a drop potentially tomorrow. But as you can see, today all we've done is from where we closed yesterday, we're exactly where we are. So holding that short with potential to get in if for any reason we do get an ADR push today. I'll look to get into another position up here at the 103 level, and then I will get out up there somewhere if it continues to push higher. But it's looking good. It's nicely extended on the 4 hour. You know, every time we get up here, typically we get these drops. So anticipating the next leg down in this downtrend. Okay, so that's it for today. Anything else you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group. Tomorrow morning I'll be on at 7:50 as usual. We'll have a look at the Frankfurt session, have a look at what we've done overnight. DAX is obviously not moving at the moment. Overnight, be aware of New Zealand dollar if you've got any New Zealand dollar pairs on, or Aussie dollar, because the New Zealand and Aussie news affect each other. So we've got CPI at 11:45 p.m. for New Zealand dollar. So that is into tomorrow's session basically. So just keep an eye on any New Zealand dollar pairs you got on. And tomorrow we've got no news. We've got unemployment claims, but these don't tend to do anything. It's all starting tomorrow afternoon with talking heads. So could potentially be some talking head movement tomorrow afternoon, and then obviously Friday we've got PMIs. All right, so keep your eyes peeled on New Zealand dollar overnight. Other than that, obviously, hope you have a good afternoon, and hopefully Euro just completely tanks. You never know. All we need is Putin to say something or release a missile, and we may be on our way. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, ready for the Frankfurt session. So hopefully we'll see you then. Otherwise, have a good afternoon, and then see you in the morning.